I think originally you guys were using ZKPs in your architecture, were playing around with using ZKPs in your architecture, and then sort of moved to this style of executing smart contracts on Bitcoin. Can you tell me a little bit about that transition and kind of how that evolved?
Yeah, so initially we chose to use a ZKVM that we were also building in order to basically like keep the node requirements very low. Initially we were doing like there's like this prover nodes and there are verifier nodes. The verifier nodes would be very accessible. They just like need to verify transactions and like sign using their keys. But later on, like as we were building it, we realized that ZK proofs, although like really cool tech and the math is quite fascinating, but they're still like in a research phase, and we can't get as much performance from them, and there are like also a lot of limitations of what we can do inside the VM.
Did you feel like it just added too much complexity that like, the tech just wasn't ready for, like at all, like broadly, globally, the tech just like ZKP tech was just like not appropriate to use in this situation?
Yeah, we just felt like that we would move a lot faster if we just like remove the ZKP part, and it was not adding that much like benefits aside from reducing like node requirements.
So essentially, like what Solana does is every single node runs an instance of the VM on every single node. So that can increase the requirements for those nodes. And at that time, we weren't sure what the actual appetite there was going to be from a validator standpoint as a business for securing smart contracts on Bitcoin. This was back in like March of last year or February of last year, right? But we over time figured out that the limitations that ZKPs brought to the scalability of our network, we'd be much better off building a performant type of VM similar to Solana, where we could actually do all the VMs on every single node. And by the way, there is a huge appetite from the validator community to secure networks that are building programmability and scalability on Bitcoin. So now that we know that, and there's a tremendous amount of interest, we could move forward with this eBPF implementation, which, like Amin said, is the exact same stack or repo that Solana built their SVM on.